Hi, everyone. This is my country. This is Brazil. And the purple area you see there is the hydrographic basin of a river called São Francisco, after the Italian saint, St. Francis, or how you would call it. And it's one of the biggest rivers in the country. It starts in the southeast and goes all the way to the northeast of the country, where it reaches the Atlantic Ocean. And when it goes up to the northeast, it passes by that small town, which is where my mom is from. It's called Porto Real do Colégio. It's a very small city. And the northeast of Brazil, in general, is known for being very poor and very dry. There are droughts that kill cattle, that kill people, and it's a really serious problem. So the river flowing through part of the northeast makes it kind of an oasis for people in the area. We call Rio São Francisco in Brazil Velho Chico. That means old, and a nickname we use for whomever is called Francisco in the Portuguese language. And it's over 2,800 kilometers long. And as I said, it finishes in the Atlantic Ocean. So growing up, I would always visit my grandparents during summer vacation in that small city I told you about, Porto Real do Colégio. And the river was always a big part of being there, enjoying the river, swimming, and all of that. And of course, as I said, the river works as kind of an oasis for the area. It brings fish, of course, drinking water for you to wash your clothes, and all of that. And in view of the surrounding drought that you have in that area of the country, it's only natural that people are very thankful for having the river in their lives. So there are quite a few religious celebrations that commemorate the river, that thank God for giving those resources to people. And by the way, I think Bom Jesus dos Navegantes, which is Good Jesus of those who sail, is coming by in a few weeks. One of my cousins emailed me to tell me that. So it's a big thing for everyone in the area. So it's only natural that you're thankful, but it's only natural that you share the resources and you use the resources as much as possible. So there are quite a few irrigation projects that follow all the path, all the flow of the river. And it's amazing what you can do with the irrigation that you get from the river. Despite being very, very dry, almost as a desert in certain areas of the Northeast, you can even, there are crops of grapes for the production of wine in the Northeast, and it's quite impressive. One other way of using the resources of the river is hydropower plants. There are quite a few on the river, 6 of them in total, if I'm not mistaken, but they are really, really big. It's not like the tiny ones we see every now and then, because the river is so big, and its flow allows that. So you're going to see, I think it's the next picture, one of the power plants that we have there. Having all that irrigation that I mentioned and the dams for the power plants, of course, that means reducing the flow of water on the river. And as a consequence, growing up, I would see the beginning of temporary islands in the flow of the river. So you see them there. And when it's dry, you can be there and you go there. We would go and have barbecues and we would have a party in the middle of the river, and it was really nice. But it went on and it got even drier, even less water, which meant that those temporary islands became permanent. There are big trees now. There's people living there. People have cattle in those what used to be temporary islands. And of course, we regret that. It's already, in my view, a lot. We have already taken a lot from the river. But then, in the beginning of the 2000s, this very big construction work started to deviate part of the course of the river to provide water to the very dry areas of the Northeast that are not reached by the river. And that meant even more reduction of flow of water in other areas. So though what we saw as temporary islands that became permanent, it got to a point when we started asking, where's the river? It's really impressive, the reduction of flow that this construction work and deviation, of course, represented. And it's really saddening to see how much we have lost, how much irresponsible we have been with the resource. So, as I said, where's the river? I was going to end this talk today in a very pessimistic tone, that the floods that we used to see in past decades, that the river would get into the cities, as you see there, that is no longer going to happen. But on this weekend, gladly, I got pictures from my family who lives there, and it's raining quite a lot. And of course, it's not enough for the river to come back to life and be what it used to be, but it's a lot of water. And that means hope. And, well, I hope we become accountable for what we did with the river and we become more responsible to that resort. Because, well, it is there for us to use, but we also have to be very responsible in using them. That is my mom fishing. She's bold enough to call something as a river her own. She refers to the river as Meu São Francisco. It's hers. So I dedicate this to her. Thank you.